Chartbusters, I'm Nigel D'Souza, and joining me as always is Mangalam Malu. Well, a quick word on the index first. We went down to around 18,570 odd, and the initial dip has got bought into, so that's good news. The breadth of the market is yet again outperforming, so mid caps and small cap indices, both of them doing better than what the Nifty is doing. So first hour of trade goes to the bulls, I would say, going by these data points, and given the fact that we woke up to a little bit of subdued cues. Well, let's get chatting with our first guest that we have on the show. Well, Rainbow Medicare, that's a stock in focus. There was a large trade that we saw yesterday. CDC, that earlier held close to 14.5% stake in the company, they completely existed. And some marquee names did join in. We have Dr. Ramesh, who joins us on the show. He's the chairman and managing director of the company. Hi, Dr. Ramesh. Good to speak to you after a while. Well, I was looking at this large trade, 14.5% equity changed hands. But the reported numbers, of buyers are far lower. I think it's only around 8.5%. Only around 55% of the buyers have been disclosed. Could you tell us who are the other buyers in this block, and also clarify whether the promoters have participated or not?
Good morning, Nigel. Nice to see you. No, it's a CDC block. Actually, it's a 14.5% is completely been sold. That's what information I've got. So what I do not know is still, I know we have got a marquee investors boarded, and allocations still yet to know. Probably once I have a Ben pass, we will have a more clarity on that. So we'll probably know in a couple of days' time the allocations and those things. Right now, what we know is we have investors like UBS and the government of Singapore and ADIA, White Oak, ICICI Pru. These are the investors we kind of bought. Allocations, I think probably it's a bit early to kind of give you the details.
Right, but we still don't know whether the promoter or the promoter family bought Dr. Ramesh.
Yeah, we haven't bought promoters. We still remain 49.83% promoter. We have not bought ourselves, sold.
And with this, the entire stake of CDC has now been sold, so that overhang goes away. Has there been any conversation with the current investors, as in prior to this deal happening, etc., any sense of the tenure that these guys would be investing for?
Well, I'm not sure because, as a part of the earlier in the past roadshows, what we have spoken to them, all of them. But prior to this deal, and I think, as kind of the SEBI rules, and it's a CDC block, they've sold to the bankers as a block deal. And currently the 14.5% of the CDC is completely been sold. That's what the information what I have at the moment.
Okay.
So still, we haven't we haven't heard anything from the investors. Probably they will be in touch with me very soon.
Okay, Dr. Ramesh, as you said, you're a little below 50%. Most promoters like to hold a little over that 50%. There's a good opportunity. Will you look to take that holding? I mean, it's a small chunk, but wouldn't you want to hold a little more than 50% in the company?
Probably we'll make it up in the future.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
So you're not closing that out. Okay. So maybe, in fact, you could do some creeping. We'll wait by and check out the BSE details as and when, if in case that does happen. Inorganic growth. We chatted a couple of months ago as well, and you briefly alluded to the fact that, yes, you're on the prowl. Do we hear something about this inorganic growth? You're sitting on cash of close to 450, 500 crores. In FY23, will you close some inorganic growth?
Well, I'm not sure it's going to be closed in FY23. As I said earlier also that, so we have been kind of very disciplined in the organic growth. And in organic, we are quite open about it. But however, the philosophical alignment with our model, as well as the scale which we can bring into those acquisitions are very, very important. But we are open about it. When a right opportunity comes, of course, we'll be kind of looking at it.
All right, we take that point. And on the organic front itself, if you could give us a sense, I remember just post your numbers, you did speak about your average revenues per occupied bed sustaining, your occupancy sustaining as well. You're looking at a better range of features, etc. as well. So from an organic standpoint, where do you see the third quarter, the current quarter, be in terms of growth for you, average revenues, occupancies, etc.? And how many rooms do you plan to add by the end of this year and the next one?
I think we are on the right path now at the moment as far as the current year concerned, and we are tracking pretty well in terms of both occupancies. Our RPOPs, whatever we've been kind of guided earlier, I think we are very close to the path. I think it's a pediatric businesses are pretty variable quarter on quarter in terms of RPOPs and those things. It depends on the seasonality and various other factors. But when you look at it year-long RPOPs, it will get settled to whatever we have guided about 47,000 around.
Okay, 47,000. I think you're expecting it to grow with inflation, maybe 6-7% growth on the ARPO from around that 47, 48,000. Occupancies, they continue to hold around 56, 58%?
I think the occupancies kind of probably towards the year, it will settle down to probably 52 to 54%, somewhere around that.
All right, 52 to 54 odd percent. And what about your Chennai facility? You said that the initial trend was good. Typically breaks even in about 12 to 18 months on the path for that?
We're doing well, actually. The good traction, a lot of new footfalls coming in, considering the new unit. And we have already come to close to a crore business. I think this is how the spokes kind of behave. They track, the traction will be pretty good usually, because once the hub is there, our reputation is built in the city, things goes well. So we are seeing the very, very similar traction, what we have seen in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai itself, Chennai as well. So I would expect Chennai to kind of spoke to break even in about 18 months' time.
Got it. Okay, all right, Dr. Ramesh, thanks so much for stopping by. Once you're done with this interview, you see those little children on the floor, please give them a hug from our end. And and it's been good speaking to you. Thanks so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, on that note, though,